Have you ever wondered what truly separates, those rare visionaries, the ones who don't just build successful businesses, but fundamentally reshape our world? We're talking about individuals whose impact ripples far beyond just profits, leaving this lasting mark on humanity itself. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Meta-Entrepreneur by Sanjiv Goyal. This book introduces us to a really fascinating concept, the Meta-Entrepreneur, or MetaE.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about pulling back the curtain, so to speak, on the mindset and the methodology of these truly transformative figures. We'll explore the core ideas that define a Meta-E, unpack the specific elements they master, and discover how they turn these, frankly, audacious visions into scalable realities, ultimately designing an impact that truly outlives them. It's kind of a shortcut to being well-informed about a profoundly inspiring way to approach business and, well, life.
So if you're curious about what it takes to drive that kind of exponential change, or maybe even become a meta yourself, let's dive right in. To start, let's get right to the heart of it. What exactly is a meta-entrepreneur, and how do they really differ from what we might think of as a, traditional entrepreneur?
Well, the book defines a Meta-E as someone who aims for a much grander ambition. They want to transform society, foster equality, with an impact that far surpasses mere personal gain or wealth. While, traditional entrepreneurs might focus on building successful companies, maybe for their families or communities, Meta-E's dream on a much, much larger scale. They're seeking to improve the whole world.
So it's not just about making money then, it's about this bigger, almost societal level ambition.
Precisely. The text states that a Meta-E changes the world inorganically. Now, that doesn't mean anything mystical. It refers to exponential, systemic growth. Think about Amazon's role in fueling the entire e-commerce movement, not just, building one online store.
Right.
Or even something as fundamental as concrete. It wasn't just invented, it required the right mix, the right innovation to create a material that transformed construction for centuries, enabling structures that were impossible before. It's about fundamentally altering the landscape.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's fascinating how the book traces this spirit back through history. Who does it point to as prime examples?
Nikola Tesla is highlighted as a key meta. His profound impact on electrical engineering, AC power, the induction motor, the transformer, it reshaped modern civilization far beyond any personal gains he made. I mean, his inventions are quite literally the backbone of our modern infrastructure.
Wow.
And the book goes further back. Roman emperors, expanding empires, early innovators shifting us from hunter-gatherer to farming societies. It even provocatively suggests the American founders were entrepreneurs, driven by a vision, right? To create a land free from excessive taxes, leading to the revolution. The U.S., it argues, is a nation built by entrepreneurs, a real contrast to monarchies.
That's a really powerful idea, that Meta-Es are essential for humanity's growth, that without them, we stagnate.
Exactly. The author argues that Meta-E drive progress and provide these invaluable contributions without necessarily relying on government support. Without them, innovation falters, stagnation sets in, and conversely, societies that don't reward innovation or just lack Meta-E, they inevitably suffer from a severe lack of progress. The book even asks you to just look around your room. Almost everything you see is a product of entrepreneurship.
The book also calls out a problem with some entrepreneurs today. What's that about?
Yeah, it criticizes what it calls wannabe entrepreneurs, those focused solely on capitalism, monetary gain, seeing opportunities only as walking dollar signs. This short-sighted approach, even if it leads to a too-big-to-fail company, can really compromise long-term trust and loyalty. The book challenges entrepreneurs to prioritize innovation and positive societal impact first, believing that success and profitability will naturally follow that deeper purpose.
Okay, so shifting gears slightly. The book uses this really powerful analogy, the metamorphosis of a butterfly. How does that connect to being a Meta-E?
Right. The butterfly's journey from that vulnerable caterpillar into the cocoon, which the book calls the cocoon of innovation and creativity, where ideas get refined and then emerging as this beautiful butterfly. It's a metaphor for the Meta-E's path. Like the caterpillar, entrepreneurs often start vulnerable. They enter this intense period of development and then break free as visionaries who've transformed their initial ideas into something, well, magnificent and impactful.
So it's all about constant transformation. What are the key elements this metamorphosis needs for a Meta-E to really succeed?
The book dives into several crucial aspects, and it starts, maybe a bit surprisingly, with their environment. Your starting point, your circumstances, can influence success, much like a butterfly's fate. Being born into poverty might limit resources, sure, while privilege could offer more opportunities. But, and this is key, the book emphasizes that perseverance from humble beginnings often creates the most inspiring rags-to-riches stories, especially, it notes, in America.
And it highlights specific environments as being particularly fertile, like Silicon Valley.
Exactly. Silicon Valley is presented as a prime example of this fertile land, a place where, as the book puts it, impossible is I am possible, where dreams are encouraged, innovation flourishes, and a crucial ingredient there, the presence of believers, people who motivate, support, and actually invest in your big vision.
But the author shares a personal story of failure. Even in that right environment, what happened there? What was the takeaway?
Yeah, it's a revealing story from 1998. He had strong external belief. The CTO of Global Crossing, Sprint, was lined up, huge validation. But his own self-doubt held him back. He didn't fully commit to building what could have been maybe a better product than Google Maps. He likens it to a butterfly doubting its own ability to fly.
Wow.
So the core lesson is stark. Your mindset, your belief in yourself, that ultimately determines success, maybe even more than the environment or external support.
Okay, so believing in yourself is absolutely paramount. What about preparing for the journey itself?
Preparation is crucial, like studying for a big exam. A meta needs a blueprint, financing, product testing, and this insatiable hunger for knowledge. The butterfly analogy continues. A caterpillar has to eat enough, gather enough resources to sustain its entire transformation in the cocoon.
And what about this idea of over-preparation versus under-preparation? That sounds like a tricky balance.
It is. Over-preparation, as the book sees it, is when entrepreneurs spend like a lifetime trying to perfect a product in isolation without real customer feedback. They end up missing the market entirely.
Right.
The book argues you should perfect your product with your early adopters. Build, get feedback, iterate. Don't strive for some impossible perfection before you even launch.
Okay. Now, vision. A MetaE needs to dream big, obviously. How does the book describe this kind of vision?
It's about having a vision that, quote, transcends borders and stretches far and wide, like a butterfly exploring new horizons, not just staying in one garden. The author shares another personal failure story, from '97 this time. His mobile internet vehicle tracking startup in Singapore failed because, in his words, they never thought big enough. They limited themselves to the local market, didn't envision a global platform like Google Maps eventually became.
And the lesson learned from that failure?
Think global, act local. A really profound mantra he learned from GP Hinduja. It means holding on to that grand universal vision, but grounding it firmly in local market realities. You have to understand specific community needs and build outwards from there.
Timing is everything. It's a cliche, but the book uses some pretty stark examples to show its importance for a MetaE.
Oh, absolutely. Timing can make or break success. The example used is vivid. Imagine planning to open a buffet restaurant in March 2020.
Oof. Yeah.
Total disaster because of COVID, right. Meanwhile, food delivery services thrived. It's a brutal reminder about adapting to the ever-changing environment.
It also talks about being too early. That seems like a real danger, too.
Yes, like wireless controllers for video games. They technically existed way back with the Atari 2600, but they needed these cumbersome setups. They were basically 2 decades too early for seamless, mainstream use. And the author experienced this himself. His 1998 mobile MLS for real estate agents failed. Why? Not lack of demand, but the HP handheld device it ran on had a terrible 2-hour battery life.
So the tech just wasn't there yet to support the vision.
Exactly. The timing was off because the ecosystem wasn't ready.
So when was the timing just right, according to the book? Any examples?
Amazon is the prime example here. They started in 1995. The internet was becoming common, but online stores were still pretty scarce. They hit that sweet spot not so early that the infrastructure wasn't there, but not so late that they faced tons of entrenched competition, like that butterfly emerging in perfect weather.
Okay. Beyond external timing, there's this internal adaptation. How does a MetaE embrace change, personally, especially when it's, well, scary?
It's about actively welcoming change, even when it feels nerve-wracking. The author shares his move to Singapore in '97. He presented this cutting-edge real estate app to 6,000 agents. He barely spoke English well then. He was terrified, but he did it. The product failed later because of battery life, sure, but he celebrates the change, the learning from that experience.
That takes courage.
Definitely. And another story, moving to the U.S. in '99, having a job offer rescinded right when he arrived. He had only 30 days to find a new job. Terrifying. But he embraced that scary change, used it as fuel, and found his path. The lesson is clear. Don't let fear dictate your decisions. Use it as a motivator.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, the book then moves into something called the Risk Curiosity Code. It outlines several key elements. Let's start with daily rituals. Seems basic, but important.
Very important. They're presented as non-negotiable, not just for productivity, but for building the sustained mental and physical resilience a MetaE absolutely needs. Things like waking early, the author likes 5:30 a.m., but stresses finding your own rhythm, mindful eating, maybe fasting like his 12-16-hour routine, consistent hydration. He mentions 32 ounces of lukewarm water daily, inspired by Deepak Chopra, maybe with MCT oil.
Right.
Meditation, breathing exercises, even simple breath observation helps. Praying, connecting to your belief system or role models, and daily affirmations, really believing the words, just 2 to 5 minutes twice a day. It's about building this inner foundation.
So consistency over perfection, building that resilience. How do these personal rituals translate into the business world, especially for agility?
That leads perfectly into agility. A MetaE has to look beyond just today, appeal across generations, constantly adapt to customer desires, market shifts. Costco is mentioned as agile, boosting digital stuff while keeping physical stores strong. But the counterexample is stark. The author asked BlackBerry's chief innovation officer back in 2005 about cameras, touch functions. Her answer? Never.
Wow, really? Never?
Never. That rigidity, that lack of agility was fatal for BlackBerry.
And the contrast with Google around the same time.
Meeting Eric Schmidt, Google's CEO then, was pivotal for the author. Schmidt just calmly said Google would eventually give away mobile phones. That foreshadowed Android, right? A total masterstroke that changed the world, even though other mobile OSs existed. Agility and vision. There's also the iPod story. Another startup actually had the hard disk MP3 player idea first. Big companies like Sony missed it. Steve Jobs licensed it initially, but then Apple, being agile, built its own OS, its own ecosystem. The original company faded because they weren't agile enough to build the whole solution.
Agility is clearly critical.
Okay.
What about execution? Getting things done.
Execution is hailed as arguably the most important element. It controls outcomes. It's like 95% of business success, the book argues. And flawless execution doesn't mean zero mistakes. It means putting 101% into every task, using every tool you have. Like building muscle, start small, scale up. The author uses his experience chairing the PNID USA conference during early COVID. Huge event, 17,000 plus attendees, 55,000 plus viewers, all with volunteers. He credits flawless execution and a relentless focus on total customer delight.
Impressive. Next up is faith. How does faith factor in?
Faith, in this context, is that unwavering belief in yourself and your vision, especially when everyone else doubts you. It's the conviction that fuels action against the odds. Elon Musk had that unwavering faith in electric cars being the future that drove Tesla despite massive skepticism. Or Chris Gardner, the pursuit of happiness guy, went from homeless to a successful stockbroker through sheer, unshakable self-belief. That's the kind of faith the book means.
And distinct from faith, there's purpose.
Purpose is the why beyond profit. It's your North Star. Vijay Shekhar Sharma, founder of Paytm in India, his purpose was financial inclusion for millions. That drove him to transform how India transacts. It gives meaning to the work, propels you forward when things get tough.
And curiosity seems fundamental.
It's described as the spark that ignites human progress. The author's own story in Singapore, seeing the infrastructure, sparked his curiosity about vehicle tracking. Curiosity fuels innovation. It helps you spot pain points like Uber seeing the pain of waiting for taxis. It encourages you to challenge how things are done. The book even suggests a simple exercise. Try spotting bluebirds or any specific thing every day. It trains your mindfulness, your observational curiosity.
Interesting exercise. And how does creativity fit with curiosity?
Creativity isn't just brand new ideas, it's thinking outside the box, finding innovative solutions using existing things. Like the steam engine. Steam existed, but a creative mind saw how to apply it to engines, sparking the Industrial Revolution. Or the iPod again. Jobs didn't invent the MP3 player. He creatively combined sleek design, that user-friendly wheel, seamless syncing, made it a game changer.
Makes sense. What about perseverance? That feels like a classic entrepreneurial must-have.
Absolutely. It's called the superpower of a MetaE. Just never giving up. Think of the Wright brothers relentlessly pursuing flight. Or Rudy, the football player, all heart, no quit. Walt Disney facing bankruptcy and rejection before Mickey Mouse took off. The author shares his own story of sneaking into the IIT Delhi library, failing entrance exams, but persevering until he was finally admitted to their graduate program. That grit.
And alongside perseverance, there's belief. How is that different from faith?
Belief here is more about that core self-belief, that conviction in your own capabilities. It's not ego, but it's what inspires teams, investors. The author mentions his practice of waking up believing, today will be the best day of my life. Chris Gardner's story is again a testament belief transforming homelessness into success.
The book also tackles resources, and interestingly says it's not just about money.
Right. Resources help, obviously, but they don't guarantee success. Sometimes too many resources can even lead to indecision or complacency. The key is harnessing those resources you have. Friendster had tons of resources but failed to innovate. Facebook started lean, used its lack of resources as an advantage, leveraging community networks. Amazon Web Services, AWS, came from Amazon using its own need for bandwidth as a strategic resource to offer others. Spotify chose audio partly because it needed less infrastructure than video, using what you have strategically.
And the importance of a collaborative culture.
I can't do it alone. That's the core wisdom. The eagles thrive in a flock, right? Legendary collaborations prove it. Jobs and Wozniak at Apple, SpaceX and NASA. Great things are achieved together. It's about building your tribe and being a leader, inspiring everyone to bring their best.
How do Metas approach leveraging failures? It seems like they almost welcome them.
They see them differently, not as roadblocks, but as crucial lessons. Data points. Thomas Edison finding 10,000 ways that won't work for the light bulb. Steve Jobs getting ousted from Apple. He learned invaluable lessons that fueled its later resurgence. The whole failing fast concept, like Sarah Blakely at Spanx Test Quickly, learn quickly, iterate. Failure is feedback.
And humility seems essential for learning from those failures.
Absolutely. Humility is presented as a cornerstone of real leadership. The book notes Elon Musk's achievements, but also discusses his ego sometimes. Mahatma Gandhi and Warren Buffett are held up as examples of humble leaders recognizing limits, seeking feedback, valuing others' input. Humility enables growth.
Which leads directly into constructive criticism.
Right. Embracing constructive criticism shows resilience. It's a growth strategy. Jeff Bezos was willing to be misunderstood for long periods, using criticism to refine Amazon. Sheryl Sandberg actively seeks honest feedback. Jack Ma sees challenges as opportunities. Even Steve Jobs, initially dismissive of the App Store, listened to his team and pivoted. You have to be open to it.
Okay, and what about removing toxic people? That sounds crucial, but potentially difficult.
Essential. Surrounding yourself with the right people matters immensely. Mark Zuckerberg had to address toxicity at Facebook. Oprah distanced herself from underminers. Elon Musk emphasizes a cohesive team aligned with the mission. It really boils down to prioritizing your well-being and the health of your venture. Sometimes you have to make tough calls.
The book also strongly advocates for diversity of perspective.
Yeah, and not just as a buzzword or ticking boxes, it's about harnessing varied viewpoints for genuine innovation. Indra Nooyi at PepsiCo championed diversity for better market understanding. Satya Nadella at Microsoft prioritized inclusion for a broader range of ideas. It helps you see your blind spots, challenge assumptions.
And tying all these challenges together is resilience.
Resilience is the bedrock. It's not just bouncing back, but actively using challenges as stepping stones. Sarah Blakely persisting through rejections for Spanx. Airbnb guys selling cereal to survive bankruptcy. Jeff Bezos pivoting Amazon from just books to, well, everything. J.K. Rowling overcoming rejection and struggle, that ability to endure and adapt.
Finally, in this section, the importance of a supportive network.
A METI's journey can be incredibly lonely, especially aiming for huge impact. So a supportive network is vital. Think Buffett and Munger, Gates and Buffett, Jobs and Wozniak, Oprah and Maya Angelou, Elon Musk and James Cantrell early on. Mentors, friends, peers, they provide guidance, challenge you, give emotional support. They propel you forward.
That's a really comprehensive set of elements. The book then offers a practical meta framework for building these thriving, impactful startups. What are the key ingredients there?
It boils it down to 7 crucial ingredients: being purpose-driven, customer-centric, fostering diversity and inclusion, leveraging technology and digitalization, engaging in ecosystem collaboration, being data-driven, and prioritizing sustainability. Those are the pillars.
And it gives a practical tool, the 5 Ws, to validate ideas. How does that work?
Right, the 5 Ws: what, who, why, when, where. It's a tool to really pressure test an idea before you diving deep. What problem are we truly solving? Who exactly benefits? Why is our solution essential now? When is the market timing right? Where can this scale globally?
It forces clarity. Like Instagram, the vague idea was photo sharing website. Applying the W's helped nail down mobile-based and filters, clarifying the core value.
Makes sense. The book also differentiates invention versus innovation. What's the key distinction for a MetaE? Invention is creating something totally new, like fire, the wheel. Innovation is taking existing ideas and elevating them, applying them in new ways. Semiconductors were an invention, continuously refining them with new OSs, apps. That's innovation. MetaEs often excel at innovation, taking inventions and scaling their impact massively.
And how does this framework guide practical actions, like problem solving?
It really emphasizes asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Don't just jump to solutions. Ask multiple questions, build multiple prototypes, dig deep, use pain point analysis like Uber did. Even that spotting bluebirds exercise is about cultivating the curiosity needed to ask better questions.
The book also talks about co-creating and co-inventing paradigms. What does that mean?
It means integrating sustainable practices and innovative solutions across industries, creating new ways of living, essentially. Think Patagonian fashion, making sustainability core. Apple Health app monitoring health. AI optimizing energy usage. SunPower's solar solutions. Airbnb's shared economy model. They're co-creating new norms.
And a true MetaE thinks really big, like planning for 10 billion people.
Exactly. The book urges preparing for a global population of 10 billion by 2050, seeing it not as a crisis, but as a massive opportunity. An opportunity to innovate sustainable solutions for food, water, housing, healthcare on a global scale. It stresses collaboration and diversity are crucial to meet that challenge.
So sustainability isn't just ethical, it's profitable.
Yes, sustainability means profitability is a core message. Saving resources, reducing waste. It argues these eco-friendly practices directly lead to better financial outcomes. Patagonia and Tesla are prime examples. Purpose aligns with profit.
This framework sounds a lot like lean startup principles. Does the book connect those dots?
Explicitly, yes. It embraces lean startup, but views it through that meta lens, applying it to impact viability, not just product viability. So validated learning isn't just about product market fit, but testing the real-world societal impact of your idea. Build, measure, learn is a cycle applied to refining the solution's effectiveness in addressing a societal need. An MVP might be a basic version of the intervention, not just the product, to validate the core concept's real-world effect, like Airbnb's air mattresses.
I see.
Pivot and persevere applies to shifting the entire strategy for societal impact based on feedback. Innovation accounting tracks metrics related to the intended impact, not just business growth. And things like customer development focus on deeply understanding the needs of the beneficiaries of the impact. It's lean startup scaled up to societal change.
Fascinating. Okay, beyond building ventures, the book talks about the 7 fulfillments, designing impact that outlives you. What does fulfillment mean here?
Fulfillment is presented as this ongoing journey, not a destination. It's about achieving life goals, yes, but crucially, solving issues that deeply matter to you. It highlights Bob Burg's go-giver concepts. True worth comes from the value you give others. Law of value. Income reflects how well you serve, law of compensation. Influence grows through authentic help, law of influence. And embracing your uniqueness makes you a gift, law of authenticity.
And all of that contributes to a MetaZ's legacy.
Exactly. A legacy isn't just profit. It's that indelible mark on the tapestry of time. Novel concepts that reshape how we live. Edison's light bulb, Gutenberg's press. It's a roadmap for future changemakers.
The book also makes a strong point about building genuine fans, not just numbers, especially relevant today.
Absolutely. In our influencer culture, it's easy to chase likes, followers. But MetaE prioritized genuine connections, often going back to face-to-face interaction to build real trust. The author tells a story about landing a multi-million-dollar project with Allstate, starting from a cold call. That contact later joined his board. It shows the power of nurturing relationships. Fred Cook of American Locker is another example focused on true value for customers, not just cheap or flashy. The iPod and iPhone got huge because they solved problems brilliantly, leading to genuine word-of-mouth enthusiasm.
And that deep connection is tied to confidence.
For sure. Authentic confidence, not ego. The author mentions introducing PM Modi at a conference, feeling that self-belief. Vinod Khosla, Satya Nadella, they embody that confidence that empowers leadership.
It sounds like this whole journey is one of constant evolution.
Yes, evolution is the powerful force that fuels meaningful change. Think computers shrinking, phones getting smarter. It's refining existing tech. Khosla, Jobs, Musk, they didn't just invent, they relentlessly evolved concepts, pushing boundaries.
And what ties this all together in leadership? Leading with heart.
With great power comes great responsibility. A MetaE leads as a collaborator, empowering others, not as a dictator. Key traits mentioned: self-awareness, uplifting others, empathy, active listening, transparency, taking responsibility for mistakes. The author suggests calm and calculated action under stress, viewing criticism as a chance to reflect, like swatting away gnats of negativity.
The book also revisits the idea of rising from the ashes.
A powerful metaphor, emerging stronger after setbacks. J.K. Rowling overcoming rejection and poverty, Oprah transcending a difficult childhood, Bezos and Amazon's early struggles, Musk's SpaceX failures before the reusable rockets, adversity as a transformer.
And addressing social equity seems crucial for a MetaE.
It's framed as a moral imperative, using influence for positive change against growing disparities. Muhammad Yunus in microfinance, Salman Khan in Khan Academy, they're cited as MetaE, using their skills to tackle poverty, unequal education access. It calls for impact startups focused on people, planet, and profit, fostering diversity, collaborating with communities.
How does this connect to the future, like the virtual world?
The book sees the virtual world metaverse, AI, biotech, 3D printing as this huge, boundless space for meta-innovation. Opportunities to solve real-world problems like food shortages, create immersive experiences, blend virtual and tangible. It's painted as the future of innovation and impact. Our deep dive into Meta-Entrepreneur really does unveil this transformative philosophy. It's a journey, isn't it? From being that butterfly vulnerable, evolving to becoming a soaring eagle, empowered by purpose, agility, and that relentless execution.
Yeah, we've definitely learned it's not about striving for perfection, but about being incredibly persistent. It's about cultivating those daily rituals for resilience, embracing change, learning from every single setback, and just relentlessly focusing on creating impact that lasts, that serves humanity globally.
Exactly. And it means leveraging everything from validated learning and MVPs in your business to building those genuine fans and leading with heart in your life. It's about challenging self-doubt, fostering collaboration, and truly understanding that failures aren't dead ends. They're just crucial iterations on the path to greatness.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? The book really challenges us to consider, what legacy will you leave behind? How will you leverage your own failures, rise from your own ashes, and become that eagle, reshaping the world with your unique vision?
The core idea, I think, is that the journey from butterfly to eagle isn't just a nice metaphor. It really is a call to action. It's a powerful reminder that your potential is, well, boundless when it's fueled by purpose, by curiosity, and a real commitment to not just your success, but to global impact.
A very powerful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and dare to make your impact resonate far and wide.